Okay, so this will be microscopy video. We will. I've taken 6 slides. Maybe we'll not watch all of them because I'm kind of tired and I want to do other stuff. But anyway, they were taken not immediately now because I mean I had to clean the room and like I took them from the burning crucible like after several fires. I mean after the third time it was fire. I mean I've added the 2.9 oil today like and fired it. So it's like after a very serious burn. But I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it should be said, it's kind of like a new crucible, like, because I mean, it's the same as like in the same material from the first was kept from the previous experiment, but I've added now a lot of like, I mean, I've added the content of the catamaran, which is pretty, I mean, it's a large amount of material, and also I've added enriched beeswax from the metallic containers that contain all sorts of like other life forms and many neros. So it's kind of a new kind of mixture. That supposedly was very, I mean, that was burned for a long time because I mean I burned it, I mean, much more than like all the burns that I've done until now. Like it was burning, I mean, like 3 times. Then each time like maybe half an hour or like I mean one time even 1 hour. So like it was a big burn. And there was a lot of wax, a lot of like, and there also added oil, so there was a lot of burn. So so let's just start by see what we have in there. So I did not cover it with covers. Maybe I should have, but let's try without cover and see what we can make of it. So just a second. We need to. I left it open. Now the battery is dead, so we need to connect the transformer. Okay, sorry for that. So let's. You know what? You don't need to see all that. So maybe we'll start from scratch. No. Let's just. Let's just start. Oh, this looks interesting. So I mean, yeah, it looks like it looks like, I mean, I'm not biologic. It looks like something that, I mean, like a limb of a pretty big animal, like, I mean, an insect or something, but it's not the whole thing. Like, I mean, kind of, maybe it was broken, like when I put it on that, so, or maybe it's just, I mean, part of it. I don't know how they build that stuff, but I, like, we need the help of like alien zoologist. I mean, is there one, like someone in the audience, or is there like someone at all, like anywhere at all, like alien zoologist? So what we see here is we don't see small life forms, but we see, I mean, most certainly this is kind of, I mean, it looks like it looks like big life forms, like, but are not complete ones. I mean, like, I mean, like butchered like butchered life forms. Like, I mean, maybe because of the weight. I mean, I should be more careful when I put things on the slide, because I'm doing it with screwdriver, and I mean, admittedly, I'm doing it really, like, I mean, without too much, like, not gently as it should be, and yeah. So I should be more gentle, because all of these, like, look like, I mean, they look like, I mean, they were torn from like an insect, but I don't know how to make the puzzle at all. Like, I mean, so we see Nero's. It's nice, like on like working on the whatever it is. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, like a graveyard with all sorts of components of pretty big life forms, I would say, but I cannot identify what we see here. Okay, so nice slide, even though I couldn't like make sense of everything, but it's a nice slide. Let's continue. Just a second. Okay. So we see many Neros here working on something. I don't know what it is. Okay, more Neros, nice. Is that like I I don't I have no idea what I mean. I will need the help of like an expert on like alien zoology to understand what we see here. It looks like bones, but I mean doesn't say much. But generally, it looks like it looks like bones. I would say. Bones of something, I would say. Nice. Many neos here working on something. I don't know what it is. What I guess bones. I guess. So I need to be more careful with like how when I take the things like from the even from the crucible. That's the problem when taking things from the crucible where it's still on fire, which is kind of like I mean a little bit dangerous. So I'm doing it not. Maybe I should stop doing it, but I mean. On the other hand, every course of action. I mean, it's kind of like there is like advantages and disadvantages, because I mean, when you work with fire, I mean, the problem is that I mean, if you stop the fire too harshly, I mean, you can actually like damage like the construction. I mean, because until now, I mean, mostly we were kind of like I mean interested in microscopic things, even though I mean it was established long ago that the neurons can create non-microscopic life form, and we've seen living worms like many like I mean it was on March like I mean or February I mean I think March. So I mean, but I mean these worms were I mean I've tried to look to watch them under the microscope, but you cannot see almost anything because they are not transparent. Unlike like the life forms that we see now that are much more complicated. I mean certainly the insects that we've seen in the previous slide, but also what we see here, I mean it's much more complicated than the worms. I mean it's not done yet, but I mean certainly when it's done it would be much more complicated than the worms, and it's also much more transparent. Like I mean it fits much better like I mean to be watched under the microscope, because non-transparent objects I mean cannot be watched like in backlight microscope like the simple one that I have. There are other ways to watch like better types of microscopy and more, not, I don't know if better, but I mean there is a. This is like the oldest one, but I mean there are like new. I mean there are other ways. I mean that like still optical. I mean I'm not referring to electron microscope, which could also be like amazing to watch all these things like under the electron microscope could be amazing. But even if we speak about I mean optical ones, there are also like I mean other types of microscopy, not only backlight, which like might be better suited for like bigger animals, but these kind of like oops. So it's just so as I said, I mean the mechanics here, like I mean the table, I mean they are kind of like I mean they need like calibration, because it's really like so it's just I mean so this it's just I mean just jumped off the table to somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Scheiße. Shit, it's broken. Fuck. So, so this will go to the trash, I guess. But what is the second part? Shit. Just jump it off the table. Oh, I can't leave it like on the floor. Okay, so I searched for it. I mean, let's continue with another slide. So it's just that one just so I just flew off the table because the like the mechanism, like the table. I mean, when I say the table, I mean the table of this is called the table of the microscope. So and like all the metallic parts are I mean they're squeaking. So oh shit! So there are more than two parts. So here's another part. So never mind. I'll swap the floor later. Let's take a look at it on another one. Anyway, so those life forms, I mean, that we deal with now, unlike the worms that I have like more experience with, but the worms were, I mean, it was unable to watch them under the microscope because, I mean, of the like they were not transparent. But this one, these one, like those flies or whatever it is, like demonic flies, are, I mean, they are kind of like transparent. So it's much more interesting to watch them under the microscope. So I mean, I should be more like careful. I mean, to when I take like the samples from the crucible, I mean, not to break the not to break the sample because. I mean, it's interesting when it's kind of like, I mean, more complete, like we've seen in the previous slide. Not like in the, not in this video, like in the previous video with the slide with the, like there was like four animals in there, but one or two were I mean, in very good shape. So just a second, let's start from the beginning. Okay. So we see many Neos here working on things that look like, is this a broken arm? I'm not sure. So this is a huge worm that we see, like this one. But I mean, also we see all sorts of things that I mean, are these bones? I don't know, like fossils, I would say. Another like sausage-like germ, maybe leprosy or rabies. Of course, in the demonic like type variation, like that you can withstand crucible fire. So who knows? Maybe like I mean, so perhaps Venus is not hell, but perhaps hell indeed exists like in this like material universe, and probably that's the place like I mean that these animals like belong to, or maybe they are a completely new design of the Neros, and like the Neros are trying to tell us that this place is going to be hell, and it should be hell. Like I mean, because I mean, you know why? Maybe that's like the message here. I must say it's difficult to understand what's going on. It looks like bones, but I don't know. What is this? I don't know. Okay, so this one was a mess. I mean, we certainly saw Nero's working on stuff, presumably big stuff, presumably biological, but I'm not 100% certain. I think we've seen bones, but I'm not 100% certain. These are big things, but I mean, I cannot identify exactly what are they. So let's continue. So let's go with this one. Wow, very nice Neros. I'm not using the zooming in because I don't want to. I'm not sure that the next lens will not be dipped in the. It's not without cover this like slide. So I'm not sure the next like the other like lenses that are longer will not like be dipped in this kind of very nice Neros, very fat ones and like a good shape, like round shape. Definitely nice Neros. Very healthy and big. I'm not sure what are they doing, but presumably something. What we see generally in this slide, I mean, the material that you see is wax. This one is taken like from the where there was melted wax, and so it kind of like re-solidify like on the slide. So you see like the background is kind of is re-solidified wax. So you see smaller life forms, I mean, still huge, but relatively smaller life forms, like relative to insects, when he was working on them. You will see like chains, like it's interesting to see the chains. You see like three like in together. And more like three, but like in kind of like a group. So this one is full of Neros. It's nice. Really, I mean, very a lot of Neros. I don't see like not many smaller life forms, and certainly not a big one. And it was mostly sort of like kind of like like a landscape of wax of like where that solidified after the melting in the crucible. Very nice Neros. Huge amount. This one is really, really rich with Neros, this one. Probably the Titans will want to eat this like with the glass, I would assume. Not only the Titans, as we know, Homo sapiens also like to eat this thing. Not sure that, with the glass or without the glass, but... Okay, so these are, look like, more like, I don't know what they are these. Many Neros for certain, yellow ones. There's the question, what does it mean, the yellow ones? But this was a huge subject of discussion in the previous months. I don't want to get into it. Eventually, it was like a very big question in this channel line. What does it mean, like the yellow ones? And eventually, I didn't reach any very, strong conclusion, but it's probably something that it's probably that they are feeding and probably the yellow material is not like the thing that they eat, but it's kind of like a digestive fluids. Because sometimes when they are feeding, sometimes you can see like the pools without the neo, starting to decompose. When you see a lot of them in the yellow, it's stage or mode. It's mostly that if you search, you can find only the pools, without the neo, which means that it's something that they get rid of. It's kind of like the snake skin or something like that. So my assumption is that it's really, and also to say, we should say that right from the beginning, when we saw this phenomenon, very early, on January, we've seen that, when you zoom in, with the maximum magnification, you can see, many times you can see very, adjacent to the yellow neos or inside them, you can see microscopic life forms, swimming, very, very small ones, and that you can barely identify, but you can see that they are moving with the maximum magnification. So my assumption back then, and I think it's probably kind of true, is that I've spoken a lot in the channel, but eventually probably the solution is pretty mundane, which is along the lines of this is probably the digestive fluids that this is interesting because you see the Nero move. You see, you see the trail. This is interesting. You see the trail where we removed. Very nice. The upper one, this one. So we don't have strict conclusions regarding the yellow ones, but probably it's kind of the digestive fluids that when they finish the meal, they abandon the pool, and so you can see pools where they were feeding, without neros surrounding them. So okay, so this is it. This was very, very interesting. We didn't see amazing effort, but we see a ton of neros in all sorts of working conditions. So it was interesting from that perspective, and it's also always nice to see that we have many of those stuff in the crucible. It also means that let's remember that so this material from the crucible will be used for the fourth starship. It will place every there are 20 balls in the starship. Each contain one ejaculation. Probably I only have 17 that I prepared in toilet paper, so maybe it will be 17 that the three are cut to half. So each starship contain 2 gears with 7 balls, and the axle is made of 6 balls. And so in each of the balls, I will similar to what I've done in the previous 2 starships, but not in the first one, the old one. That I placed stuff from the crucible, so we can see that it will be very rich in neros and life forms. So a good advertisement for whoever will want to buy this starship in the future. So he will know that he will have 20 eggs with many life forms and neros and maybe mutants, maybe I don't know, demons. I'm getting tired, so let's do a quick review of the two ones that are left. So, I mean, not much interested. Doesn't look really interesting. You see several smaller life forms, and this may be like part of bones, but I don't know, not conclusively anyway. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the mind just tried to find like patterns. I'm not. Maybe it's something like that's supposed to be alive, but in a really like kind of like vague, like uh, I'm not sure what it is. Is it like even a thing? Like not sure. It looks like a map actually, like right, like with continents and stuff. This looks like a map. Right, so not really interesting actually. So this one was a flop. Okay, let's take a look at the last one. Just a second. Okay. So we see neos here for certain, and cannot say much more than that. Even big ones, maybe it's supposed to be something. I'm not sure. No, just a stain. Seems like just a stain. Very nice stuff. Like I mean, we see all sorts of stuff here. And stuff like yellow robots. Many yellow robots. I don't know what they're doing, but I mean, presumably feeding on something. I mean, probably feeding on the animals, like on the life forms, because we know that they like to eat them. Wow. Wow, so rich in like million robots like feeding on stuff, I guess. Wow, 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 so many of them. Like nuggets of gold, like million nuggets of gold, like all over the place. Like million just in on the slide, very probably the crucible contains like billions, many billions. Just never ending stream of golden nuggets. Wow, so many. It's crazy how much, I mean, Wow, so many of them. Just think that, I mean, this is like a microscopic slide. Like, I mean, it came from like a big crucible that, like, I mean, contains like many times, like, I mean, 10,000 times, like, I mean, or more, like, what material from like the slides. The slides is just a drop. And all of that will be probably food to the birds and the worms outside this hostel, because the people that ate it until now, I mean, make sure that the only person that can actually produce it and make it multiply will be poor and miserable and be tortured in a hostel for homeless people and be treated like by a suicide squad of the Shabak that is aimed like to hospitalize him in a mental institution, so they will be able to eat him like a farm animal. So that's why the people in this world, and there are many that could have like presumably bought this stuff, and not for a lot of money because I'm not greedy, but for some amount of money because I can't be that poor, but they can't buy it, and instead the person that owns this stuff will be kept like poor and miserable and will be tortured, and this will go like as most of the material until now that was discarded to the dirt like in the backyard of this hostel to be eaten by the cats and the worms. Not metaphorical cats, like real cats. Because these are humans. That's the way that I mean, for them it's more important to be the boss than to actually be able to buy stuff. Even though they probably spend much more money, tremendously more money on trying to steal it. But they don't. But I mean, it's worse for them. It's worthwhile because I mean, they need to be the bosses, and part of being boss that you don't buy the stuff, you take it for free. Even if like I mean, the war that you fight in order to be able to take it for free costs you 1,000,000 times more. But these are humans. This is the Homo sapiens, the thinking person. This is him. Okay, so this one was very interesting. We didn't see like interesting life forms, but we've seen a ton of Neros here, and all like seem to be like feeding on something. Still, I'm not sure that the yellow ones, the yellow pools, like I mean, are really, I mean, just I mean, they digestion fluids. But it was a big question in this like in this like channel for several months. Like, what does it mean, like the yellow ones? And I couldn't reach a conclusion because I had several theories that were actually falsified, and the only thing that is not falsified is, I mean, probably the simplest one, that it just means that they are feeding. And this is not the food itself, it's kind of like the digestive material that is left after they are done. So that will be all for now, and I promised you another chapter in the root, I mean the Three Sisters fairy tale. But I'm kind of tired. But I mean, if it's really important, maybe I'll try to make the effort. If not, so it will be in one of the in the next days. So that will be all for now.